Let's go ahead and take a look at the mastery builds. We're going to start with the utility. Nowhere to start other than that. Limber. You need it. Just reduces the stun of the enemies. You need 1 point in it to open and unlock. Parry. Parry is timing a block right. When attack reduces damage by 20%. If contact is made, stunned attackers up to 1.5 seconds. Stun duration increases perfect block chance. We'll talk about that in the defensive area. It's a must-have. You need to have it. It's critical to starting a combo. If you want to parry stun, it's a great feature to use and good ways to start combos, and it's highly recommended. I would only really put 1 point. You can go 0.2 or more if you have the extra points, but not really needed. Dexterity. It's pretty much a human evade feature. If you're looking to evade Hawkeye's arrow, you can swipe back as before impact, or Thor's hammer throw, and just reducing all damage. I mean, you just evade the attack. Great. It's must have. I mean, you need it just as much as you probably need parry, if not more. So, and it also increases your critical damage, your critical rate, by 10%, and it goes up based on more, as you pointed. You just need 1 point. I mean, 1 point will do. You can put 2 or more if you have extra points, but not needed. But we're going to go ahead and go to defense now. And obviously, early in the tree, vitality and greater vitality. You just need 1 point. They're not useful. They're just to get later in the tree. We're going to go ahead and go to block proficiency. Increase the blocking proficiency of your champion by 8%. That's at max. I think it's 2% per. I'm a huge blocker. I want to reduce as much block damage as possible. To me, it's must have and should be for most. And so I definitely recommend that. Perfect block. Remember, this is also something that has to do with the parry stun, right? As discussed earlier. So having a few points into this is not a bad idea, even though the percentage is really low, 1, 2, 3, 4% each. I mean, it's not much, but it's needed. Stand your ground. I have 2 points at 20%, so it's just for the heavy hits like the uppercuts and such. You can actually take it. You won't get destroyed by it, so it's kind of not bad, and it helps out your PI a little bit too. So I put 2 points in that. Salve. It's a very low health intake. Honestly, it's 1 point. I mean, because what you want, what's next is recovery. Increase the amount of health champions recover by 15% from all resources. So, I mean, that's at max. It's 5, 10, 15% for each level. Max this out. This is very critical to willpower. Willpower is big. Your champions regenerate 1.5 health and gain 3% armor. So, not a bad deal. This is one of those ones that you really just want maxed. I mean, you're not getting much beneficiary out of the 1 and 2 tree. I mean, you might come even at the 2, but you're not really going to see much benefit from this unless it's maxed out. But coagulate. Big, it's nice. This is a luxury more so item. This reduces the bleeds, all bleeds, right? So this is good. You can get up to 30%. I have 1 point. I will be maxing this out. This is where I'm at right now in my leveling. So I will be maxing this out as I level up. This is big. I want to reduce my bleeds so I'm able to heal more with my willpower and such. It's good. I mean, I wouldn't really. I mean, this stuff you don't want to reduce your time of bleeds. I mean, honestly, your willpower will heal you, so you don't want to reduce that. Inaccuracy is nice. This is not a bad feature to go with. It reduces incoming damage, right? Not bad. It gets up to 6% maxed out. You can go this route. I mean, I probably won't. Not for now, anyways. Not for a while. Resonate. This is good for AQ. Very positive. It just contact with physical attacks resonant armor enemy, reducing the attack by 7% for 7 seconds. So obviously, reducing their attack is always a good thing, especially against bosses. Up to 13%. Very recommended for AQ, but do not for arena in any way, shape, form. If you do a T4 arena or any arena in general, don't do it. It's not good. You're gonna put something on them. So if they have willpower, you'll be fighting somebody who has willpower, and it sucks. It's a never-ending fight. Definitely not good. All right, for offense, obviously we're gonna stick to the 1-1 for the the strengths and the greater strengths and all that. It's not used. It's just one. Courage. I will eventually be putting points on this, but for the lack of points, I do not have any points into this. I will be working on this later. Definitely be working on this later. It's not a bad thing to have extra attack for when you're low in damage. You're able to kind of have that little fury, right? Not bad. Pierce. Critical hits from your champion ignore initial 5% armor. I'll also be maxing this out as well when I gain more points, because you can get up to 15% more on critical hits. And that means a lot for the tree. We'll be going ahead because we'll be doing more damage later on here. Increase the critical rate of champions. I mean, honestly, for lesser precision, maxing it out 5 points for 2. It's not 2.5%. It's not really worth it, honestly. I wouldn't really waste your time with that, because precision, you can get up to 10%. 10% is a lot better than 2.5%. So definitely just go ahead and skip that and just go to that anyway. All right, lesser cruelty is obviously the actual damage you do. So when you crit, the more damage you get done. This isn't bad, honestly. Lesser cruelty isn't a bad option if you have the extra points and you're not going to go into the tree that I'll be discussing next, which is the Glass Canyon and all the double edge and such. Which this is where I would have put all those points into most likely instead. So not bad, but I wouldn't max this out unless you weren't going to go into later trees. So just stick with the 1 point and go with the cruelty right here. All right, so 50%, right? Extra damage, not a bad deal. Max this out. Definitely max this out. This will do a great deal of damage, and you want that. All right, let's go ahead and go down to Fury. So Fury is really something you don't really need it. I mean, it's great, obviously, because you're increasing your Fury damage and Fury time, but I really just wouldn't do it. It's wasteful for other things better. So let's go ahead and go up to Glass Cannon now. It increases the attack of all champions by 2.4%, but reduces the maximum health by 2.4%. So basically, it's kind of a wash. This really isn't a bad deal. It's not going to hurt you much. With the 2.4% health lost, it's going to reduce some of the willpower you're going to gain, but 2.4 ain't much really to give. And you gain 2.4% damage, increase. So it's worth it, especially for what's later in the tree. Just put 1 point on it. I don't see a point of going to maxing this out in general, because you don't want to lose maximum health of 7.2%. As much it would be nice to have that 7.2% increase of damage, it's just, if you have willpower, you just don't want to do that. So let's just go ahead and move on to recoil, which is not friendly. I hate this. This is the worst mastery this game has to offer, because it just stabs you in the face. So increases special attack damage for all champions by 10%, but they sacrifice 5% health for each activation. So every time you use a special, you're going to take a hit of 5% of your health. That was not fun. That's just not a fun way to go about life. So, you're doing damage. It increases your damage by 10% on your special, which is great. It's awesome if you're trying to finish an opponent off. So if you're on your level 3, you have your cinematic, you can really kill some people with that. I've killed people with half life or more. At times, and it does great damage, but it sucks. Honestly, it sucks. There's really not much to it. One little note to it: if you have Dr. Strange, you can heal through it. So use Use your specials during the heal phase, but for everybody else, you're going to lose health. That's pretty much all there is to it. So basically, your level 1 to your level 2, the recoil will actually be in effect before the attack. Level 3, you'll actually get the attack, then the recoil. So let's go ahead and move on to double edge. Increase the attack of all champions by 30%, but up to 30% health is lost, bleeding over 20 seconds. Alright, so basically you're increasing, at maxed obviously, you're increasing your damage by 30%. Excellent. But you add all this in with your critical rates and your hits and your cruelty and all that madness, you're doing good damage. And if you have willpower, and you should not do this if you not have willpower, you'll actually heal through that bleed and you'll actually gain health. I mean, how amazing is that, right? So you're able to increase your damage by 30% and you're able to actually heal. So you're at the start of the fight, which is how this works. For the first 20 seconds, you have a bleed and you'll gain health because you'll overheal that with the willpower at 1.5%. So worth it. Definitely worth it. Now, Liquid Courage is definitely buyer beware. I mean, it's very AQ questionable. I mean, if you're running maps 1 through 3, you're good. You'll be fine with Liquid Courage. It increases attack of all champions by 30%. Again, long as double edge. But suffering eternal poison. Poison is not the same as bleed, just to be noted, and which is 1% of your health drain. So obviously, one thing just to keep note is that a bleed will not reduce health gain, a poison will. So you're reducing every health gained through willpower, recovery, Doctor Strange, any health that you gain through regen or whatever, you're reducing that by 30%. And then that does hurt a little bit. So that's where it's kind of buyer beware a little bit. But you can actually, you're losing 1% health, and that's for all 3 phases, right? So willpower is 1.5% maxed, so you can actually gain health through this as well. It's just not as much, You're gaining very little. You're hurting a lot of things, but you can still gain. But the damage is definitely overtaking. But that's my mastery build. Thank you guys. Thank you.